gummy bear.
It's the internet. You're busy. Let's do this for August 1st, 2022. For the next hour or so. Yeah, I'm on it. I'm on top of things. Let me help you sort through the world of gaming on Game Mess Mornings Live with me, Jeff Grubb. Today, the Analogue Pocket finally makes it easier to perform game crimes. But first, please join me in welcoming today's co-host to Game Mess Mornings. It's Mike Minotti. I have it here from Fanbyte. That's not you. That's Mike Williams. No, Mike Minotti from GamesBeat. Yes, all the mics. How you doing, Mike?
I'm pretty good. That weekend went by pretty fast, but what am I going to do? Complain about it? I guess so.
Here we are, already getting into the complaints from Mike Minotti.
I got several of them throughout the show.
Sure. You're gonna. Oh, thank you for spreading them out. I appreciate that. You're so thoughtful. It really keeps the pace going.
I'm all about the pace.
I'm upset that we are like the color of our shirts is very similar.
Yeah, I mean, I'm almost surprised you're wearing a graphic tee again. You've been such a Hawaiian shirt, muscle shirt.
Sometimes you run out of them.
Boy lately.
It's we got the air on. We're doing okay. It's my Banjo Kazooie shirt. I like this one a lot. It's a good shirt.
Good.
Yeah. Yeah.
To remind everybody that I'm a disgusting Disney adult.
Yes, of course.
Leering Donald Duck.
Yeah, listen, don't try to like charm us by being like, oh, I acknowledge that I'm a Disney adult. No, you need to just earn your shame and live with it. You need to let us
I'm going to make it okay now.
Only we get to call you that. You can't call yourself a Disney adult.
Look, if the disgusting anime nerds can go mainstream, there's hope for us Disney adults still.
Yeah, fair enough. Maybe. All right, before we get into this mess, let's explain ourselves. Each weekday, I, Jeff Grubb, will help piece your gaming life back together. That includes breaking news, the catch-up, where we discuss the biggest topics consuming the lives of gamers everywhere, and maybe even bring in some of our own original reporting. For all these topics, I'll get the input of a bona fide expert who will make me look smart. If you are watching live on Twitch, welcome. You can always listen to the show later on podcast feeds by searching for Game Mess Mornings or find the RSS on giantbomb.com. You can also catch the show later with chapters and timestamps on YouTube. Hello, YouTube. Okay, we have a lot to get into, so let's start the morning mess with Pokemon Presents stream coming August 3rd with new details on Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. These details come from Michael McWhorter at Polygon. The Pokemon Company is preparing for a major update on all things Pokemon with a new Pokemon Presents video presentation coming this Wednesday, August 3rd. Wednesday's Pokemon Presents stream will stream on the Pokemon YouTube channel. Will start at 9 a.m. Eastern, 6 a.m. Pacific. In addition to Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, we may get updates on games for mobile devices like Pokemon Unite and Pokemon Go, and fingers crossed, word on the fate of the long-awaited Pokemon Sleep. Mike, What are the chances that we get Pokemon Sleep?
I hope so, Jeff. I haven't slept in like 2 years since they announced it now, right? So
that's right. How are we supposed to do it?
Right, yeah, because it's like, okay, sleep is canceled until the Pokemon let me, and it's been kind of rough. I think that's why I've been aging so horribly. Why I've been so cranky lately.
I was making spaghetti and my leg fell asleep. So the big thing I think about with this is that we are waiting for a very long time to hear about Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. People have been saying, "Hey, when are we going to get this event?" It's on its way now, right? So
yes.
What should we expect? You're my main Pokemon guy, Mike. Not really, but yeah, just pretend. Work with me on this.
Okay, I can do this.
What should we expect to see from this?
We'll see some new Pokemon. We'll probably see some of the gym leaders. At least one of them will be a waifu, and everybody will be very excited about that, Jeff. By trainers, I meant gym leaders specifically. And then,
right.
Like some of the kind of bullshit features that they throw into these things, like, a fashion show or whatever, a bit of that. But aside from that, I guess, we'll get a sense of how open worldy and how much less linear this one is. So I guess that's exciting because there are still some questions about that, right? Like just how Arceus-ish is this one,
yes,
and how traditional is it still?
Yeah, I think that it is. Pokemon's in a slightly weird place. It's not in any sort of weird place where it is in any danger of like losing relevance or not selling well, but it's like, hey, there are pulling tensions on what people want from the next game. And you know, especially after Arceus, I want it to be more like Arceus. I could see them definitely taking bits and pieces of that and applying to this game. The big thing for me is I'm hoping we see slightly less random battles. Have they like established whether or not that's going to be the case with this one?
I forget. I would imagine not. I mean, so Sword and Shield had that like open frontier or whatever where it
Right.
wasn't random battles,
Exactly.
which seems so much like we're testing this for the next one.
Right.
Basically, I have to imagine that's the direction. I mean, even the Let's Go games didn't have the just straight up random battles in tall grass anymore. I think we're beyond that now, Jeff. Except for like the remix of some of the older games at this
Sure.
point. But I don't know. It's always hard to tell. I mean, it sure did feel a lot more satisfying in Arceus just to like see an actual Pokemon in the wild and then literally throw your Pokemon out near it.
And
That's my biggest concern is I liked Arceus so much that this isn't going to be enough like that. Still, it's still just going to feel more like Sword and Shield, which was fine. Like I enjoyed playing at the time, but nothing about that experience stuck with me very much.
yeah, I suppose that is like that's the thing. Like if you were someone who maybe fell off of Pokemon, or you found something in Arceus like I did that was like very enticing and kept me playing. I still want to go back to it. I haven't beat it. I still want to go back to it. They're not. This is probably the main formula. They're not going to just change up so much. They already have Arceus. They are probably going to.
Right.
Sure, they'll modernize this, but they're probably not going to change it up so much that it's just like Arceus. That seems very unlikely, right?
No, exactly. I mean, we do have those games now, and there's going to be a sequel to Arceus at some point. Like, this is still going to be go out there, get collect your gym badges. There's some questions about how linear that is now. Like I forget if this was a rumor or something they actually said, but supposedly you'll be able to go and do the gyms in any order, but they're not going to be scaled necessarily. So there will still be an order you should do them in. So it's like a half step kind of towards this more free open world Pokemon thing, kind of like Arceus, but still probably not.
Yeah, I've gone on record saying I enjoy things that don't scale. I like that because it's like I like going into places where I'm not supposed to be, and then maybe I'll get like a weapon that enables me to do a shortcut. I'm like, I'm not supposed to be here, but I can figure it out. But I get what most people are saying, where it's like, oh, I do want to just go to this place and get these Pokemon, and now I'm still kind of being locked out. I'm being gated not by an actual gate, but by the difficulty. And yeah, that's
Yeah,
fair.
in like an Elden Ring, it feels like, oh, if I'm not here, I can still kind of be clever and work around it. In a Pokemon, if a
Sure.
Pokemon is 15 levels higher than you, I don't really know what you can do about that.
Yeah, and that might be like if they don't do the other side of that, like what you're describing there. Yeah, that'll be an issue. All right, let's go back to this screen and say this next story. Sony says it believes Xbox owning Call of Duty could influence users' console choice. This comes from Andy Robinson at VGC. Sony believes Call of Duty could inspire users to switch to Xbox following Microsoft's proposed acquisition of Activision Blizzard. That's according to the company's official response to questions from Brazil's regulatory body, as spotted by Reset Era, which, like many regions, is currently studying the proposed deal for approval. Large portions of the Sony's response highlight the importance the PlayStation firm puts in Call of Duty, a franchise which it claims influences users' console choice. In its questionnaire answers, Sony calls Call of Duty an essential game, a blockbuster, a AAA type game that has no rival. According to a 2019 study, the importance of Call of Duty to entertainment in general is indescribable, the company said. The brand was the only video game IP to break into the top 10 of all entertainment brands among fans, joining powerhouses such as Star Wars, Game of Thrones, Harry Potter, and Lord of the Rings. And that's the end of that quote there. Mike, yeah, right. We get Call of Duty's huge, and we get that it would be the kind of thing where it could affect people's decision-making process when they say, hey, where am I going to go play? Where is this best at? But it is where it's best at, right? Because they've said so far as we know, Call of Duty is not going to go exclusively to Xbox in any meaningful way. So what's the big difference here? It might be, available free on Game Pass. Do you think that is enough to like move the needle? Do you think what Sony's saying here is real?
I mean, I think it's certainly real in terms of how important Call of Duty is, and outright losing it would have a giant impact on PlayStation. It just being on Game Pass on Xbox, I mean, that's going to have some small impact, Jeff, but I don't think a giant one. I don't think that's going to be the kind of thing where it's like we have to worry about the future of PlayStation now because of that move.
Yeah, it's I think right, exactly. And now, and they go on to say like, oh, it's the kind of thing where it sells so well that it usually outsells every other game except for maybe a few, even in its bad year, like it had this past year. And like that's like one of Sony's answers. Like even in a weaker year, Call of Duty still managed to outperform everything by a considerable margin. And it's like, okay, yeah, this is an industry moving game, but it's hard to see people being like, well, if I'm already invested in PlayStation, I could still just get it on PlayStation. If that is their thinking, they're going to be fine. I think having their friends already on one platform, even with crossplay, still being a bigger thing. It's still, if their friends are already on one platform, they're going to continue in that way. I suppose though, if you are someone who is very price conscious, having the Game Pass option available could be the kind of thing that could move things. To me, this still feels like Sony might be like, yeah, maybe playing it up a little bit because, who knows? Maybe the deal will get blocked or something if they play it up. But overall, I don't think this is going to like hurt them too much.
Well, yeah, maybe they are playing it up still, just again to reinforce that going forward, Microsoft better make sure that these are still in fact coming to PlayStation, not just for like a couple more years or a few more years until some deal is up. Like we want this for the long term, or else then Sony, who's been relatively quiet about like these mergers and how it's bad against them, might start raising more of a stink about it. Maybe even might like trying to find some government buddies and whatnot.
Right, exactly. In chat, AJ Man says $60 once a year, still less than $120 and $10 monthly. Yeah, I mean, but you have to pay for like Xbox Live, you have to pay for PS Plus. So if you're paying for like Xbox Live Gold to be able to play that online, then it's like, well, why wouldn't I just pay the $5 extra? Or I could just get, to get Xbox Live Gold all wrapped into there and it's part of the price. I mean, I think people will make that, do that arithmetic for themselves. But I do think some people will be convinced by Game Pass. I just don't think it's that much. I agree with Mike, though, that this is the kind of thing where maybe they are looking for caveats to this deal or looking for conditions to be put on the deal. It's like, well, listen, if you backtrack on keeping this game multi-platform going forward, there will be a price to pay. And Microsoft will be pretty sensitive to that, I think. They'll probably be trying to avoid that as much as they can. Mm-hmm. Analogue Pocket gets a long-awaited update. Here's what is and isn't included. This comes from Christopher Grant at Polygon. A full half year after its intended January release date, a beta for the highly anticipated 1.1 release of the operating system that powers the Analogue Pocket is finally out. While it comes with support for additional controllers while docked, the memories feature, which stores save states, and the OpenFPGA feature, which promises support for new consoles via third-party core development, the beta doesn't include all of the expected features. Notably absent is the full library feature, which populates game data when you insert a cartridge, and the screenshot feature, which will also populate your save files under memories. Less officially, but perhaps of more interest to Pocket owners, it's unclear if this Analog OS 1.1 milestone has been what's holding up the long-awaited jailbreak, which, following all previous Analog products, promises to replicate the built-in functionality while adding support for side-loading ROM files. There's, the big features here is stuff like, you can have the controllers, you can have 128 different save states. Previously, there was a beta version of save states where you could press I think the analog button and up or something like that on the D-pad, and that would save a state, and then you could press the analog button and down, and that would load the state. But then if you were to switch games, you would have to override that save state. This enables you to save a whole bunch of different save states. So it's like, okay, that's kind of like meeting a minimum bar for how most software emulators work. So it's good that they've gotten here.
Right, and just for some people in chat confused, the Analog Pocket's not the Playdate, which is the one that Craig. This is the one that is like the fancy new Game Boy that plays Game Boy.
Why does you made this mistake? You have an Analog Pocket. You made this mistake a few weeks ago when we were talking about it, And
I
it's
did, yeah. You asked me some question about it. I was like, I don't have an analog pocket, and I like definitely do and use it all the time. And I still thought you were talking about a play date for some
yeah,
reason.
weird. It's I guess that's just like this is getting conflated in people's heads. But there is some good news for people who want to do crimes. This comes from Anthony Wallace at Retro Dodo. Analogue Pocket can now run ROMs thanks to OpenFPGA update. Just hours after the launch of the OS V version 1.1 beta firmware update, the Analogue Pocket can now run ROMs thanks to the new OpenFPGA feature. Analogue is always sure to clarify that their devices is not designed to offer software emulation and that the use of game ROMs is not an officially supported function. But a bunch of developers have already put stuff out on GitHub. Let's see, Spiritualized 1997 launched 2 FPGA cores for the Pocket, OpenFPGA GBA and OpenFPGA GB and GBC. So if you want to load these cores onto there, you can then open these cores and run side-loaded ROMs right directly on the thing. You could already do that to an extent with the GB Studio feature built into the Analogue Pocket, but that wouldn't work with Game Boy Advance games. So now you can do that, and you don't even need to jailbreak it. It just works with the OpenFPGA thing. So, Mike, you have a Pocket. You could go and update it right now. Are you going to? Are you going to take advantage of these features? What's up?
Yeah, I'm gonna update it. We'll see about the whole ROM thing. I still have some cartridges of games that I plan to play through.
And that would still
Eventually,
work. Those features, that would still function perfectly. So you could still do that.
yeah, right. I was actually at the used game store yesterday looking at their Game Boy Advance games, and they had Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2, and it was listed for $8. And I got excited, but it was the Game Boy Color version accidentally put in the Game Boy Advance section. So instead, I got
Oh,
Tony Hawk Skate Park for $5, which I never heard of. Probably
yeah.
not
What is
good,
that?
actually. Yeah, right? I don't know. The Game
Is
Boy
that
Advance game.
well,
Well, it's
Is it?
skate spelled SK8, so I assume it's like the Skateland era, but like the Game Boy Advance one.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, but Raul says please play that on the internet. I would like to see that, just in case that it's like some sort of like Chinese reproduction cart of like a ROM hack or something.
Yeah, did I not buy a real game? Yeah, now I wonder what the hell. What the hell is Tony Hawk Skate
Okay, Skate.
Island?
Tony Hawk's American Skateland.
Right, that was the thing.
That was like one of the early DS games. So maybe there's some overlap there, and that came around at the same time on GPA. Maybe it was like Skateland is real. Yeah, absolutely. But he's saying Skate Park.
Wait, let me get this cartridge. I'm getting this cartridge.
Yes. All right, we're gonna do some investigation.
What did I do?
What has he done, everybody? He definitely bought a repro. Is this thing real? Oh my god, this is incredible. This is even better. Skate Park. Okay. Tony. Okay. Yes. Well done, Mike Minotti. I am definitely going to take advantage of this stuff. I was already doing that with the Game Boy stuff, where it's like
it is in fact actually just American Skateland. I don't know why it was called American
okay.
Skateland.
All right.
That makes
Okay.
more sense. I still didn't know they made a Game Boy Advance version. Like there's a really good DS version.
Yeah, but that was like
Skateland.
literally like one of the very first DS games. And so, of course, there was like still Game Boy Advance games coming out at that time. That makes sense. All right. Well, God. I mean, there's just so many like fake Game Boy Advance carts out there. Once you started talking about this, I'm like, maybe that's what was happening.
I'm kind of disappointed I have a real game now.
Yeah, for real. I was kind of like, because it would have been a fun story, like figuring out where did this come from? What have you done here? But yeah.
It's still Vicarious. Oh, did Vicarious Visions make the Game Boy Advance version still? In that case, maybe it's still going to be good. We'll see.
Oh, it's probably going to be good. Yeah, but I'm sure Vicarious Visions made like all of those like handheld ports all through that era. I think they made the American Skateland too, I think. But yeah, they would have made the Game Boy Advance one. Those Game Boy Advance Tony Hawk games are very good.
Yes, that's why I was excited when I thought I was getting Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2. But I'll settle for this, and maybe I will just download a ROM of 2 now since I can.
Right. We'll talk more about the future of OpenFPGA and Analogue Pocket here in the catch up. But first, let's keep moving on. Steam, Epic, and other digital storefronts are currently banned in Indonesia. This comes from Aaron Kelly at GamesBeat. Digital storefronts like Steam, Epic Game Store, Origin, and others are currently banned in Indonesia. The Indonesian government made it a requirement that digital companies who failed to register with the government wouldn't get placed on a whitelist. As it turns out, a whole bunch of companies didn't register with the government. The Ministry of Yeah, but big whoopsie doopsie. The Ministry of Communication and Information Technology of the Republic of Indonesia, Cominfo as it's known, pushed the regulation against private electronic systems providers in late July. According to games industry analyst company Nico Partners, Cominfo has four main goals with the regulation: establishing a system of all PSEs operating in Indonesia, maintaining Indonesia's digital space, protecting public access on digital platforms, creating a fair system between domestic and foreign PSEs, including in terms of tax collection. This is a bit odd because it's like one of their stated goals is to protect public access on digital platforms, and now a whole bunch of people can't access digital platforms. Right. Kind of a weird move, huh?
It is, and I for some of these major people like Valve, it's like, what did these emails go into their spam folder?
Yeah,
by accident?
exactly. Yes,
it seems like it would have been an important thing. I imagine like they woke up one day like, what do you mean we're not in Indonesia anymore? What?
Yeah, right. Wait, did anyone see this graph where Indonesia, like the money just went like and fell off a cliff? What happened here? And then someone like looked into it and like, oh, okay.
There's a lot of calls being made. I mean, I seem like all these people are now racing to get this done. You would have think that like a month ago or something, there would have been some pretty heavy, like, hey, don't forget to do this. Or
yeah, but this is the kind of thing where it's like bureaucracy and corporate. Like it's probably pretty easy to overlook these things. And maybe even if you did know it was coming, which many of these companies probably did know it was coming, it's probably like, how do we, like, we haven't done this before. What do you want from us? How do we fill out these forms? Where do we send it? Like who needs it? And like, even if it got there, did it get processed? I mean, who knows? It's like there's the problem here is like this is going to have to be like a start from scratch thing because it's going to do a big dent to the entire industry overall. Because you got to think, like, if you were someone who was like a content creator in Indonesia, like your games just evaporated, and even if you wanted to stream them, is Twitch or like YouTube is up, but Twitch isn't working right now. So it's like, okay, your whole channel is just not, it's going to, wither and die because no one's going to be able to watch it. And even if when it does, you're not going to have anything to play. So it's like this real weird reset, and they're going to have to go through the growing pains again of getting everything back on its feet.
Sounds like a giant mess.
Yeah, and there's no word on exactly if this is going to get cleared up quickly or not. It's like, okay, if Valve goes and like rushes to fill things out, will they get turned back on immediately, or is that going to be like, is there going to be a big line now because everyone's rushing to turn it on? So yeah, a big mess. Multiversus players unlocked a new Rick and Morty stage in just 3 hours. This comes from Andy Robinson of VGC. The highlights of the story include Multiversus players have unlocked a new Rick and Morty themed stage after completing a community challenge in just a few hours. The Cromulence stage required players to collectively accrue more than 10 million ring outs in the free-to-play brawler, which they managed to do just 3 hours after the challenge was announced on social media. Cromulence is the first new stage added to Multiversus since the game went into open beta earlier this week.
Show us what you got, those guys.
Yes, right. This not too surprising. This game seems very popular, so 10 million ring outs in 3 hours seems just about right. Have you been keeping up with this game?
You know, I was streaming it on, was it Friday or something, and I got in the stage. I didn't realize that it was some kind of a thing that it was available.
That's right. Yeah, I remember you like seeing the Rick and Morty stage. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was like, oh, the Rick and Morty stage. That's weird because those characters aren't in the game yet, but the stage is. So yeah, there we go. I guess that makes sense now. That's always kind of a fun way of unlocking certain things, Jeff. Even though it's like the goal is so big, it's like as an individual, you can't really do anything about it, right? But it's still kind of fun. Like, oh, well, eventually this is going to unlock because we're all playing.
What is that game where was it it's the one where the boy is like growing and he's trying to reach girl, and like everyone's like contributions to the game contributes to how long boy is. It's like I think it's from Nobby Nobby Boy. Thank you, chat. Yeah, Nobby Nobby Boy. Did boy. Like boy is right. like he reached girl, I think, and then like he's like on his way to like Jupiter or something.
Yeah, this was like PS3 era stuff, wasn't it?
Yeah, first of all, is that game still online? And second, did he reach Jupiter? Probably. He's probably not going very fast anymore, huh? He's probably not growing at a.
No, the cell processors have slowed down now.
Girl made it to Pluto and back, right? Okay, fantastic.
Oh, nice.
He's in girl grind. I can't remember which one, guys. Thank you.
What was the Peter Molyneux thing?
Cube or the which one? The one where you touch the
Yeah, everyone was tapping cubes together. Somebody
Yeah, is it
won
called
their
Cube
prize.
or yeah, something like
Yeah,
that? Yeah,
the winner was supposed to get like money from that
Curiosity
from the
Cube. Yeah, something like
yeah
that.
curiosity. Maybe it's just called curiosity.
Yeah, maybe that sounds right. But you tap the cube, and then the person who was tapping it right when it opened would get money, but they would also be in charge of the next game. And I don't think that game ever came out. I
It
don't
was
think
like
that.
I think it came out in some form because it was like his like sim game. It was like the kind of
Yeah,
I forget
Goddess.
what
Right. But it's like I don't think
right.
that ever like got a full. It was like
It
early
never
access,
was what
right?
it was supposed to be. Certainly in terms of like there being a like god character, which was supposed to be that guy.
Right, exactly. So anyhow,
And you're supposed to get like money from like the profits of the game. I don't think there were any profits,
right.
Jeff.
So put that guy in Multiverse is what we're saying. That's what I want.
Yes, that'd be great. Yes, it's only fair.
It's only fair.
Yeah, speaking of levels, the Steven Universe level was great just because it was playing that orchestrated version
Yes.
of the Steven
Wow.
Universe theme song. I was like, oh,
I'm like
this is very
really
good.
impressed by that game in terms of like, oh, it's like really going like the Batman the animated series theme song plays on some of the levels. It's like
Right,
yeah,
which
just all
is-
that stuff is just really good.
Yes, the only thing I'm like slightly doubt on is the actual game feel of it, which is I don't know.
Yeah,
maybe it's
but
just I'm too much of a
explain
Smash Brothers
yourself.
boy.
You are a dirty Smash Bros.
Doesn't feel as good as Smash.
Fanatic.
Doesn't feel nearly as good as Smash Brothers.
Did you switch the controls to the Smash
I like
controls?
such controls. It's not that.
No,
It's
I know,
like
I know.
hit-
It's. I'm just. I obviously.
yeah, but
yes.
that helped. I
Yes,
do like
okay.
that there is an option for make this feel more like Smash Brothers. Like, yes, please, I would like that. But just hitboxes don't seem quite as sharp. You don't have nearly as many moves per character. You don't have like the tilt attacks or things like that. You don't have grabs and whatnot. Plus, you have a lot of cooldown abilities. I don't think that feels great when moves are on
Sure.
cooldown. I don't like the perk system either, but there's things I haven't played a whole ton of it yet, so maybe I'll get past a lot of that. But part of me's like, man, I wish Smash
Yeah,
Bros.
maybe.
Was
Yeah,
this
maybe you're
easy
just a
to
snob.
open up in
Yeah.
Steam
Yeah.
and play online because that would be great. Like that's the best thing this has going for it is how easy it is to start this game.
Yes.
and just start playing against people online.
And it's
very
free to
good at
play,
that.
so there's a lot of kids playing.
Free to
You can
play.
go beat them up and feel good about yourself. Exactly.
and I do.
Although that was probably true for Smash Brothers for a while. Maybe not so much anymore. I like the way Multiversus feels. Anyhow, the next Tomb Raider.
Would.
Yeah, I would.
dirty,
Yes.
dirty. You suck at Smash Bros. That's all it is. Is that you're like this. This is like going to be my thing because I'm bad at Smash Bros. My thing is how good I am at Multiverse.
I don't think it's that. I think there's just something about the attacks that make more sense to me. I won't say that they feel better, but they make more sense to me.
What does that even? Oh my god!
It means
Oh
when
my
I do an
God.
attack, it feels like I'm doing an attack. And Smash
know who
Brothers
you
does
are?
not feel that way anymore to me.
What? I don't even know that. I don't even know what that means. You're probably maining Rain Dog. You're probably maining their weird OC character. You just absolute
What's wrong with
criminal.
that? Wow, that's pretty offensive the way you said all that. The way you all said that, it was just make it sound like you don't think much of Rain Dog.
No one thinks much of Rain Dog.
One of the last times I played Smash Brothers a couple times since this, but the last time I played Smash competitively in public, it was at PAX, and it was for Greg Miller's like industry like trophy or whatever.
Yeah.
And I got to like one of the last rounds, and then I got teamed up with a guy named Dan Reichert. And I like knew Smash was going to be in the thing. It was before Smash Ultimate came out, right? It was like I think that's what it was. So I'm like, Mike, tell me what I need to do in case I end up playing Smash. And he's like, just play as like Cloud, because I think Cloud is pretty OP. And I did better than I thought I was going to do, but we totally lost because me and Dan were on a team against two other people. We totally lost because I just jumped off the side and got us lost us one of our lives, got a -1 instead. So maybe I hold
hard
things
for me to watch.
Maybe I hold some grudge against Smash Brothers. Who knows?
Yes,
Who can say?
Maybe I think you absolutely. If you're saying things like you think that the attacks just feel more right in Multiverses, yes, I think
They
you
just
do.
feel like I'm doing something. I don't feel like I'm doing anything in Smash. You know what? Moving on. The next Tomb Raider could have Lara Croft leading a team of Tomb Raiders. This is by Andy
better be
Robinson.
called Tomb Raiders then.
Yes,
right?
absolutely.
Like,
The Tomb Raiders. According to an alleged script leak, the next Tomb Raider is internally known as Project Jawbreaker and is described as an action-adventure game set in modern-day world rocked by mysterious cataclysm. Lara Croft is now at the top of her game. The alleged script reads, "Gone are the days of the young, inexperienced women dealing with dealing with the matters of legacy and familial reckoning. Lara has let go of her childhood and fully embraced the life of an adventurer. Her legendary career has been lauded and printed in tabloids, tall tales of adventure that have inspired a new generation of Tomb Raiders to seek their fortunes in the world. With this new phase of her life, Lara has fully accepted her place among the ruins. For many years, Lara plunged into the depths of the Forgotten Places, played cat and mouse with many nefarious opponents, and worked to uncover, preserve, and protect the lost secrets of the world, lest they fail into the wrong hands. The big change here is that she's been inspiring these other Tomb Raiders, and as the years have passed, Lara's become lonely at the top. On this new adventure, Lara will encounter a challenge she can only overcome with a team at her side. Collaboration is foreign to her. She's always succeeded alone. So in this situation, she's a fish out of water. This is like pretty familiar stuff, but also I think it's going in the direction that maybe the series needs, because it feels like things that work these days is stuff like Fast and Furious, things where it's like it is about family, it is about a team, and maybe giving her other characters to work with. Like even Uncharted did that, right? In Uncharted 4, it was like you were spending a lot of time with these other characters and building up these relationships.
You
and
always had those other characters with you in Uncharted.
Okay, well,
games,
Tomb
so
Raider
that was
hasn't
like
had
a
that stuff.
departure.
I'm not the biggest Uncharted guy, so I actually wouldn't know. Just that only speaks to it more. Like Tomb Raider, you are almost always pretty much kind of on your own. Like you maybe start the game with a team, but then they fall away pretty quickly, and you like lose track of them. Now you're just stuck alone in the tombs. And I don't know if that it's not like Metroid, where Samus being alone is, I think, core to what makes Metroid work. Tomb Raider, I think it could be like, hey, we are adventurers, and sure, I'm Indiana Jones, but you could be Sulla, and we could like have this relationship that's important to our adventures.
I guess there's just a lot of questions like what is the squad? I mean, this could be anything from like, oh, here's these NPC characters sometimes, to here's 3 people who are walking with you all the time. I mean, it could be like a Halo 5 Guardians thing, Jeff, right? Like we don't sort
Sure.
of think of, I mean, kind of they're like Master Chief is sort of just this big hero, and having him with 3 assholes the entire time, who are just always talking or whatever, and that didn't really add anything to it. Maybe made things worse. And then the other direction, is this like really leading up to like being some kind of 4-player co-op-y thing? Is that what they're really trying to do here? Are we making our own Tomb Raider? I don't know. It's not a direction that I have a lot of excitement for personally. I would be completely fine with just super confident Lara Croft going into tombs by herself. I mean, especially like that was the best part of those last games, was going into the tombs. And that very much, I think, was important for her to be by herself, because those tombs were like creepy. And
Yeah.
like, not everything about the direction of those new games worked for me, but I did like when they kind of went into Temple of the Doom sort of like environment horror, I guess you could call it. And that sort of stuff would not work very well with like 3 people, 2 of them, like one of them's the jokester, and one of them's gonna be the jokester.
Sure,
and
yeah.
I don't know, Jeff. I don't know.
I bet one of them's good at computers. I bet
One of
that's
them's gonna be good at computers.
Yep.
Yeah, one of them's probably gonna be kind of flirty with Lara Croft.
Oh yeah,
and-
there's supposed to be like a lesbian romance in the game too. Yeah, that's part of this story as well. So yes, you're right. That's
you just threw that one at me.
Yeah, sorry. Oh yeah, Mike, what's your opinion on lesbian romance?
Oh God, no. I think it's great that there's all these characters in there now, and I'm fully supportive of everything.
Wow, you sounded very hateful all before that. Now you've come around. Got your ass.
Dang it.
Yeah.
You backed me into a bigot trap.
Yes. We'll see how this all plays out. This game's probably pretty far away. It's an Unreal Engine 5 game. It could change many times. They could come around to what you're saying, where it's like having her be alone in some of these tombs is crucial, and they could maybe even fit that into what they're trying to do with this wider script here. But I think the script is much more likely to change than like if they to serve the gameplay in the end than for the gameplay to change to serve the script. I think that's the most likely scenario.
Well, what is the likelihood that the game is actually called Tomb Raiders? Like, that has to be the name.
Oh, it's like 1,000%. It is like so going to be called Tomb Raiders, Mike. Absolutely.
Good. Well, that's good at least.
Yeah. I can see you smirking like, got it. I got that one. I got it. All right. EVO 2022 will have content and reveals from Arc System Works, WB, Capcom, SNK, and Bandai Namco. PlayStation will celebrate the return of EVO from... this comes from a PlayStation blog, by the way. PlayStation will celebrate the return of EVO with the PlayStation Tournaments, EVO Lounge, a live show dedicated to covering all the competition's exciting events and content. The show is hosted by players and commentators who live and breathe the FGC. Viewers will be able to stay updated with the latest at EVO and watch exclusive content that won't be available elsewhere. The EVO Lounge will feature top-shelf curated show coverage, bracket updates, interviews with players, and exciting content and reveals from developers and publishers such as Arc System Works, Warner Brothers, the whole list I read before, as well as the latest from the scenes with pro players and casters. Viewers will be treated to the latest news for our favorite games and a few sneak peeks of what's ahead. It's every spectator's source for EVO and FGC intel. You can tune into the show on YouTube and Twitch on August 5th and August 6th, streaming live from Las Vegas. That's a pretty beefy list of companies. Do you think they will all have substantial new stuff, or will mostly be like, oh yeah, we showed up, or here's an update on some characters that we already knew were coming?
I mean, Capcom will show off some new Street Fighter 6 characters, and that'll
Definitely
be like exciting, even though they all leaked. We'll see them in the game and whatnot. WB's there. I mean, what else can they have this time? Well, I guess they could also just show new characters from Multiversus, but maybe we're going to see the next thing from NetherRealm finally.
It seems like it's time.
Maybe it's just a Multiversus character, huh?
I think now that you've said that, yeah, you're probably right. Every time we do this, this is how it goes. We get excited and we think like, oh yeah, there's that other thing that just is like so much simpler. Yeah, that's probably right. Multiversus character, like, don't get your hopes up. And that'd be cool if like we saw, Injustice or Mortal Kombat. Like, again, what I've heard is they're working on Mortal Kombat, but it's been a long time since I heard that. So maybe things changed. I don't know.
Bandai Namco is going to be there with some sort of anime fighting game. Now, Arc System Work is also going to be there. So I don't know if it's time for a sequel to Dragon Ball FighterZ.
They just released a game in like the last year, right?
Yeah,
so they could have a character as well.
Yeah, Arc System Works has like 2 games now that like look as good as Dragon Ball FighterZ, but they're based off of anime franchises I know nothing about. So
right, okay.
They kind of go over my, which part of me is kind of bummed out, but that's like, oh, I wish they'd make a new fighting game thing for something I care about. They do another Persona one, which is above anime filth. That's completely different.
Oh, right, completely separate. Right, yes,
yeah,
you can.
That's good.
You're keeping yourself clean with that Persona, right? Okay, sure.
Right, exactly. And then like SNK, I don't know. I'm not. What is SNK up to? They know they still make King of Fighters games, so maybe something with that.
Probably, yes.
Yeah.
There was like a recent King of, maybe they'll announce that they fixed King of Fighters. Doesn't it have like really bad online or something? I think I remember reading that.
See that?
Yeah. So like, hey, we fixed that. Now it works. Sevward says Persona is mid culture at best. Wow, damn, Sevward.
Thank God MJF taught me what mid means, and I can know how wrong that statement is.
All right, let's get to the catch up. I wanted to talk a little bit more about FPGA core developments.
Of course you do.
Yes, my name's Jeff Grubb, and I like FPGA core development.
What does FPGA stand for, Jeff?
Yeah, Field Programmable Gate Array. Now, do you want to know what that means?
Yes, please.
Basically, it's like a big chip, and by setting off certain gates within the chip, you can make it behave like other chips. And so, by like shutting off the gates, like it becomes like less and less powerful each time. But it's you can emulate something like, you can make this chip behave exactly like an NES chip or a Super Nintendo or a Game Boy Advance, and you can get in there and just do it in the hardware. It is hardware emulation instead of what we traditionally think of as software emulation. FPGA is pretty cool technology. Intel subsidized it, which is why it's been affordable in any way so far. But and it's probably a big part of the future of like all kinds of technologies. But it's right now it's mostly used so we can play our old video games and have our midlife crises together.
Yay.
Yes, hooray! Let me see here. I'm gonna bring this up. Let's transition over. This is from Bob from Retro RGB. He noted an FPGA dev, and this is what he wrote on Twitter. An FPGA dev just posted a poll on their Patreon account asking if we thought they should port their course to the Analogue Pocket. While I'm always learning and evolving my opinions, after almost 20 years of being in hardware dev, my opinion is split, but very strong. Basically, like he's saying that like it is a very cool piece of hardware. It's very popular. If you were to port your cores over to Analogue Pocket, a lot of people are going to use it. But one of the things that frustrates a lot of these developers is this is not open in the same way that like the Mister project is open. Mister's just like, you go get parts, you build it yourself if you want. People can build it for you if you want. But It's completely open, and these cores are portable and available and all that stuff. If you make a core for the Analogue Pocket, you are essentially doing development work for Analogue, and you're not getting paid for it. Like you are improving the quality of their hardware without getting paid. And I think, and Analogue itself has a bit of a kind of a rough reputation in this community already, but I think that a lot of that stuff is going to be sort of overwhelmed by just how much demand there's going to be for these things. We saw, like, as soon as that OS went live, there was GPA and GB Color and Game Boy cores all right there, ready to go. Also, just to be clear, the Game Boy and Game Boy Color core was the same core because they're the same system.
Oh my God, you shut the hell up. It's funny, I went to my retro game store, Jeff, and there were separate sections for Game Boy and Game Boy Color. How weird.
I'm like
they're
some
separate platforms.
podunk shop in the middle of nowhere is not going to know.
Oh my God. We should do that. Should just be the poll. That should just be your stupid poll today. Let's see what that community thinks about it. I want to know in chat that we've been yelling at this forever. Are the Game Boy and Game Boy Color separate platforms or not? I think they absolutely are. The fact that people distinguish between the two all the time.
I think I have done that poll before. I definitely did it. I think during the Grubb snacks. I think, but hey, I'm not against
Grub
winning again.
Era.
I'm not against winning again, so yeah, absolutely.
Oh my gosh. Thank you, Dan. Oh my gosh. Thank you, Dan.
Yeah, I mean, they're the exact same hardware, but sure, different consoles, even though...
Oh my gosh. No.
Wow.
I just saw some video about like games that push the Game Boy Color to the limit. It's like funny how there's apparently games
the same limit as the Game Boy, except for maybe more colors.
Oh my gosh.
Whatever. I hate you.
Different.
I think that this is conversation, like, there's always a lot of scene drama in retro game scenes and game preservation, and that's the kind of stuff that can turn toxic and turn people off. I think mostly like Analogue Pocket, I think is going to try to, or Analogue is going to try to introduce this stuff and sort of stand back and hope for the best, and that might be the best like case scenario for them, where like they don't try to force anyone to do anything. Don't try to like encourage it in any weird way. Just say, hey, it's there if you want. If you want to experiment, go for it. I bet in the end we get quite a few cores developed for the Analogue Pocket. Will it be as refined as what's going on with the Mister project? Almost certainly not. And if that's the stuff you care about, go get a Mister instead. But I think I really want to play stuff on this Analogue Pocket screen, so I hope it kind of keeps growing. I also want to catch people up on this Nier Automata mystery. Mike, have you kept up with this at all yourself?
Yeah, relatively, Jeff. I think like a lot of people, I was like, oh, maybe this is like the weird way that they announced the sequel to this game. But maybe it is just one weirdo modding the game like crazy to get a rise out of everybody.
Sorry, Uzi in chat says the Game Boy Color processor is twice as fast and has 3 times the RAM, and I'm trying to figure out how to ban him. Let me see here.
Oh, it's the same as that thing, except for these differences.
It's the same processor. Yes, it's upclocked, but it's not. It's just not. Like,
God.
So is the Nintendo DSi is upclocked. Oh, okay, whatever. We don't have to do this. I could just hate you in private and quiet and solitude, and I have to get everyone else involved.
You hate me because I'm right.
No, because you won't just admit it. All right. Nier Automata's mysterious church revealed to be work of modders. This comes from Michael McWhirter at Polygon. The mystery of Nier Automata's hidden church has been solved, or rather, the people behind it have fessed up to creating the mod that made it possible, and to trolling the community with a month-long reveal of their work. On Thursday, the Reddit account Sad Futago, which first posted about the undiscovered church in early June and released multiple videos that previously unseen content, posted a series of new images from the church area with cryptic messages. Those messages ultimately led to a Twitch account that streamed even more footage of the church, a new boss battle, and another completely separate area. At the end of the playthrough of Nier Automata's church area, the people behind it revealed themselves and the modding work they'd done to make it possible. 3 modders going by the names Devilish Revenge, Woeful Wolf, and Raider B explained what they had accomplished. They modded Nier Automata in a way that few thought possible and created something so carefully designed that many thought Platinum Games or Square Enix themselves were responsible. Everything we have shared has been completely in-game, the group said. No editing was used. We have been loving all the discussions and theories. It has been an amazing journey. It has been inspiring to see the community come together after so many years. It has made all the hard work well worth it. I think this is mostly a pretty feel good story, Mike. I'm like, it is cool that these people went to all this effort. It is maybe slightly disappointing that it has not led to something more, but maybe the journey is kind of worth it in this case.
I mean, it was fun. I mean, there's always a cycle to these things, right? Where it's like we see this weird thing in a game that like no one found before. People were like, "Oh, people are probably modding it." And then other people are like, "Actually, here's why it couldn't possibly be a
Right.
mod. Look at all
That was the
these new
thing.
assets."
Yeah, that was the thing. It was like someone in the chat's like, no one thought Platinum was behind it. I'm like, well, as soon as I saw this, I'm like, this is just a mod. This is just some, and then you would start hearing people say stuff like that, where it's like the way this is done, like no modder could possibly, like it would take so much effort. And it turns out, like usually how it works, like whenever you watch a magic show these days, and you're like, how is this possible? The answer is almost always this person has worked harder to make this trick than you've ever worked at anything in your life. And it turns out that was the answer here as well, where it's like, oh, these people just worked very, very, very hard on this thing to make it seem believable. And that in itself, it's like also like kind of a magic trick where it's like, oh, people are willing to do this much, go to this much effort for something like Nier Automata in that community to then create a new mystery. That is kind of cool. I think it's pretty fun in my opinion.
Yeah, and I do wonder when we are going to hear about the next Nier. We had the remake of Replicant about a year or two ago, and I
Switch
don't know if
version's
that was
coming of Automata.
Switch version of Automata's coming. So I don't know if there's like a Nier Automata 2 or just some other kind of a Nier thing. I am wondering like how sequely they want to do. They want to do another game with 2B because 2B kind of became this breakout character, right? Or if Yoko Taro is still just going to be super weird and do some game that is like only vaguely related to Nier Automata in the way
I like the Drakengard stuff, like maybe go in that direction. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
What a weird franchise. I hope all the Nier weirdos out there get exactly what you're looking for in life. I'm pulling for you.
We got yelled at on our podcast, Jeff, when we said that the combat in Nier Automata was only okay, and it was everything else that really held that game up.
I wasn't going to bring it up because everyone's going to yell at us here too. Mike, what have you done? Yes,
I know. I
thought it was boring.
I think those just those weirdos in our community. Dan said straight up bad comment. I don't think it's
I would get Dan. Why I thought it's just boring and made me want to go to sleep.
Let's all attack Dan. Let's all worry about Dan's opinions and not
ours. What a shithead. Wow.
Yeah, wow, he's crazy.
All right, let's get to the poll. I have that right here ready to go. Will Dragon's Dogma 2 sell more than the 7 million copies the original has sold? 64.2% said yes, 35.8% said no. Mike, I think I'm a little bit more split than this, but it's like, okay, this game, Dragon's Dogma 1, sold 7 million copies over a very long period of time, multiple sort of re-releases and updates, and multiple sales, and probably people getting the game for $5 a lot of the time. I think over this same period of time, it's, yes, Dragon's Dogma 2 will sell more. But
yeah, that's what I was kind of thinking. Like, no way it's going to sell that much in its first, like, year, right? Like, it's not going to do better than, say, a Final Fantasy VII Remake, even though it'll be on more platforms than that was.
I think it might be close in like the first 2 years to that number. But I don't know. It's kind of like, I think it's probably still going to have a pretty slow build up. And who knows? Maybe we're wrong. Maybe like the conversation we had about this. I'm trying to remember who was on with me. I think
it was Tam. I think Tam was worried about it being that kind of snakes on a plane situation that we talk about with things, right? Where everybody seems really excited and like talking about it a lot. So the studio's like, oh, this is going to make a lot of money. It happened with that Morbius re-release even, right?
Right, and but this is not Morbius or even Snakes on a Plane. But I could see why, like, yes, that the possibility is definitely there, where it's like the conversation around it, the noise on Twitter or in other social communities is not quite the exact right signal. And so, but I think it's a little bit closer to like the noise being the signal than something like Snakes on a Plane. But still, 7 million copies is a lot. That's like about how much Final Fantasy VII Remake has sold altogether at this point. So yeah, that's going to be tough to reach. I think that if it comes out and gets people talking, it's not going to quite be an Elden Ring scenario. Nothing will be an Elden Ring scenario, obviously, but maybe it might have a similar trajectory, just on a smaller scale, I think, where it's like, oh, this is like, they're coming out for this franchise, which is possible.
Yeah, I mean, if this game sold over 3 million copies even its first year, Jeff, I think that would be good enough. I think they'd be
for sure
pretty happy with that. By the way, the people in the Giant Bomb chat, Jeff, are much more reasonable than those deviants.
Of course they are. Of course they are.
they mostly agree that the combat in Nier Automata is fine. That's
Yes.
not what makes the game special, which
Right.
I knew was not a controversial opinion.
Okay, shoo. It's so funny to see these our two different communities, like the Game S community and then the Game S Mornings community and Giant Bomb and everybody. It's like everyone in Giant Bomb, like the Reddit, everyone's like, oh yeah, Grubb's so nice. And then you go to my Discord like, Grubb, you fucking donkey. Is what it's like.
Fucking donkey. Yeah, it's the Gordon Ramsay meme.
Yes, absolutely. I'm like, oh man, you guys are like much closer to me. Maybe you know me better, but whatever. All right, the poll I was going to do is Call of Duty on Game Pass going to convince more players to pick up an Xbox. I think I'm going to go with that, and we'll keep running chat polls about the Game Boy versus Game Boy Color going into the future.
I got enough people agree with me with chat now that I actually don't want to come down from this high with actual stats.
Yes, exactly. You don't want to see the numbers.
Don't agree with me. Yeah.
Yes,
I'm feeling good right now.
Right, exactly. You could just believe like, oh no, that was definitely my favorite. I can feel it. I can feel it. And what do you need other than feelings? Yeah, exactly.
Yes, exactly. Feelings get me through.
All right. Yes.
And I'm feeling good.
No. All right, everyone. I'm gonna shoot that poll off right now.
Yes, no polls. The best kind of polls.
Yeah, it's easy. It's easy. All right, let's. I don't think we've put up. We have the meeting like always in like 10 minutes for Giant Bomb. So I guess first, Mike, I'll ask you, what do you got going on this week? Where can people find you?
Well, you can find me at GamesBeat.com. I'm on Twitter and Twitch at Tokoto. Going to be making that run to get to the top 100 players ranking in Neon White this week. So hopefully that will happen. Jeff, is there a Power Bombcast happening later today?
Yeah,
do I have double Giant Bomb duties today?
Yes, we need you on there, absolutely. So I don't know if we do those live. If we don't do them live, whatever. It'll be available very soon after, because we want people to be able to like listen while they're still just coming off of everything that happened over the weekend. But Power Bombcast is happening, absolutely. Everyone should tune in. I got some questions about wrestling that I'm just going to ask, because I was like looking at the response to the last one. It's like there's a pretty big split where there's a lot of people who this is the only wrestling podcast they listen to, and many people this is the only wrestling content they really consume at all. And so like I'm just gonna ask some basic questions on top of everything, like talk about everything else that happens. So I'm looking forward to that. We're gonna make that happen
just
here
when you
later
think you
today.
have the answer, Jeff, I changed the question.
Oh shit. Okay.
There you go.
Wonderful.
I think I got that right. That was
All right. Well, I was making spaghetti, but my leg fell asleep. So with that, we are
Mom spaghetti?
out. Mom spaghetti. Thank you to Mike Minotti. Thank you all for being the best audience in gaming. Until the next morning mess, have a good one. Take care of yourself, and goodbye.
Bye.